Greetings from Texas. Okay, for Cast Iron Wednesday, we're going to do Japchae, which is a Korean dish. It is kind of somewhat complex, but I found a way to make it simple. Anyway, the star of the show are going to be these glass noodles. They're made out of sweet potato, and if you've never had these, you got to try them. The texture is nice and chewy, semi-firm, and it's really good at soaking up flavors. The big thing is they're very long. These are folded in half, and I'm going to break them up. So the first step, there are 3 steps. One is to cook these glass noodles for 6 minutes, and then rinse them off, coat them with some sesame oil, and then they're going to get added toward the end. We have about a ½ pound of Gulf shrimp, which I've deveined and shelled. We have 3 different types of mushrooms. We have oyster mushrooms, king oyster mushrooms, and enoki mushrooms. The enoki are going to kind of go toward the end. We have some cabbage. We have 1 whole onion. We have 1 carrot. I'm going to add some celery that we had that needs to be used, and we have Chinese leeks. So the next step after the noodles, we're going to cook up the vegetables, and then we're going to also cook the vegetables up with a little fresh garlic and a fresh ginger. Okay, the third, and we have cooking oil to cook the vegetables in. The third component is the sauce. We're going to mix that up now. That's going to get added toward the end before we add the noodles. And I'm not using salt because we have gochujang paste. We got about 1.5 teaspoons of that. That's pretty salty, and we're going to be using soy sauce. We got a teaspoon of black pepper. We got about 1/2 teaspoon of cracked crushed red pepper. We got a tablespoon of brown sugar. We got 1 teaspoon of garlic paste and 1 teaspoon of ginger paste. So let's go ahead and mix up the sauce, and I'll show you the ratios. All right, for the sauce, we're going to start off with 1/4 cup of water, and then we're going to add 1/4 cup of soy sauce. We're going to add about 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. One ingredient I forgot is the oyster sauce. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. We're going to add about a 1.5 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. And now we're going to add our dry and semi-dry ingredients. Garlic paste and ginger paste, or vice versa. Ginger. Let's get that mixed up, and we're going to set that aside. Okay, our next step is to cook the noodles. These take 6 minutes. And this is how they come. We're going to take half of this package, and that's going to go into the boiling water. I have 1 tablespoon of salt, and as you can see, I'm using a shallow pan to cook the pasta. This is the way I do it. Instead of getting the big 10-quart pasta thing, I'm using 1/3 of the water, which heats up 3 times quicker. And you just want to agitate this, get it seasoned with that salt. It may seem like a lot of salt, but we're going to rinse this off. And the noodles are good before we put them back into the dish. So let's set the timer for 6 minutes. And then turn that down. Okay, let's get our celery chopped. We're going to kind of cut that fairly thin on an angle. Now this dish is typically, you want your vegetables somewhat crispy. And they're typically cut in julienne fashion, so. Okay, here come the noodles. Now we're going to rinse those down with cold water. That'll stop any cooking. All right, now these noodles are long, so to kind of shorten them up a little bit, we're just going to take some scissors and cut them down so we don't get slapped with the noodles. And then next we're going to take some sesame oil. About a teaspoon. And we're just going to toss these and let them sit till it's... Okay, I guess I forgot to turn the camera on. Anyway, what we did is we chopped up our fresh garlic and ginger. We used a peeler to make carrot strips. We cut our cabbage in strips. We cut up the Chinese leeks, put the bottom ends in here, and then we sliced up our onions like this. And then we cut our celery kind of diagonally like that. And we want these to be kind of crunchy, not too soft. Next we have our enoki mushrooms. We just cut the bottoms off. These will really shrink down and they will kind of go in later. And then we cut our king oysters in planks, and then I halved them. And these are our regular oyster mushrooms. And we have the green tops from the Chinese leeks. That's kind of goes the garnish. And we have our shrimp. So we're gonna start off with our mushrooms first. Okay, we got our pan hot. We're gonna add a couple tablespoons of oil, in this case grapeseed oil. And we're going to start off with these bigger mushrooms. And we're going to move these around until about half their volume. Okay, it's about 2 minutes. You can see the mushrooms have reduced down quite a bit, so we're going to add our cabbage. And another tablespoon of oil. Smoking hot pan, so you want to keep this stuff moving. Just like you're cooking with a wok. All right, we'll come back in a minute. Okay, it's been a minute. Pan's still smoking. We're going to go ahead and add the rest of the vegetables in. And just a little bit more oil. All right, 2 minutes has gone by. We're going to add our shrimp. You don't want to overcook them. The thing about shrimp is they tell you when you're done. Okay, now we'll add the enoki mushrooms. Kind of separate these a little bit. Okay, our shrimp are about halfway done, almost all the way done. We're going to add our sauce. I'm going to turn our heat down to a low, medium, low. And then now we're going to add our noodles. And our dish is done. All right, folks, there it is all plated up. That's the girlfriend plate. Mine's gonna have a lot more. Okay, let's give it a try. What do you think?
Yummy. Yummy, yummy.
That's good. I love these king oyster mushrooms. They're almost like beefy. Okay, there you go, folks. My cast iron pasta Wednesday. Shrimp, Japchae, Texas style.